everybody, I'm Dakian, and this is my review of a new role-playing game called Blood and Bronze. Hey, you might wonder if it's set in the Bronze Age. Why are the protagonists on the cover using iron implements? Well, I don't know, maybe the art direction wasn't clear enough. Anyway, this is a very small role-playing game. It's only 68 pages. It's self-published by the creators. You can get it on Lulu for about $15. I should state that I received a review copy free of charge. The cover is color, but the inside is black and white, though it's not quite white. It's this sort of eggshell color, which makes for nice reading. It has each chapter opens with a 2-page illustration, which are well done, and the illustrations are evocative. Here we have the chapter on the player characters, and they're looting some sort of temple, kind of reminiscent of the old Player's Handbook cover. So what is this game? What do you do in it? Well, it's kind of, I call it second wave OSR, as in Old School Renaissance. It's the type of game that wants to evoke the feel of how role-playing games were played back in the olden days, but they don't want to have the clunky mechanics of those days. So, what do you do in Blood and Bronze? Well, you go around in a sort of fantasy version of ancient Mesopotamia, and you loot tombs and steal stuff, I think. Mechanically, the only way to advance in the game is to spend money, which means that the acquisition of money should be a primary goal of the players, I assume. It's never actually stated outright. This is another factor in OSR gaming. They seldom tell you exactly what you're supposed to do with the game. They kind of leave you to your own devices. Anywho, the world is only explicitly described in a few pages, but I mean, you can look up information about ancient Mesopotamia online or in books. It's readily available. Characters have only a few attributes. I can show you the character sheet. You have 6 abilities, which each have a rating and a score, and you can have a few skills. You have a certain class. You roll your abilities, that is your basic stats, on a scale from 3 to 12. You roll 2d6, but you re-roll double ones, so you can't get to 2. The table for possible ability scores goes up to 18, but you can't actually get 18 as a human, I think. I haven't found any way in the game to increase abilities anyway, so I don't know. Anyway, your score is also translated into a rating. The score for your ability, which is between 3 and 12, is what you roll equal to or under on a d20 when you're called on to make a saving throw, which happens when something happens suddenly and you just have to dodge out of the way or whatever. Most of the time, however, in the game, most rolls are done using the ability rating, which is a dice pool. It's a number of d6s that you roll, and every 5 or 6 that turns up is a success, and you count the number of successes and you compare to your opponent's number of successes, and the one with the most wins, and blah blah blah. You know how a dice pool system works. I'm a little curious as to why they have this dual system. I'm not sure what would be the problem with going strictly with a dice pool system. Now, I don't myself like dice pool systems most of the time, but if you're gonna do it, you should commit to it. I'm not sure what having that D20 saving throw adds to the game. Really, you can convert that to a dice pool roll as well. So anyway, as for the character classes, they are the mercenary, the rogue, the mystic, the courtesan, and the seer. And they all have a bunch of skills that no honest citizen should have. So this sort of strengthens the idea that you're supposed to play people who gain their wealth in perhaps illegal ways. The game system seems to work perfectly fine. As I said, you can strip out the saving throws if you want, and you roll everything on d6s, and it's very clear and obvious what you're supposed to do. Because it is such a short game, there's not a whole lot I can talk about, really. Apart from the fact that the referees section I like very much. It starts with a few pages on tips for referees. I kind of like the term referee, by the way. It's the original term for what we call game masters these days was a referee. It conveys a certain impartiality and neutrality, which is obvious hokum, of course, but nonetheless. Anyway, these tips are given in a sort of bullet point form. There are no actual bullets, but you know what I mean. And I they're all good ideas. They're all good suggestions and good tips. And then we have some examples of adventures. One which is a sort of a dungeon. It's a fort full of bandits. There's a wilderness adventure with a random encounter table where each encounter is described beyond just being, you run into 10 skeletons, kill them. And the very interesting suggestion that once you've had a certain encounter, it's unique. You can't have that encounter again. So you have to make something else up to take that encounter's place in the table. That's a very good idea for keeping wilderness adventures fresh, I think. So you don't run into the same 5 hyenas over and over again when you're traveling through the Great Barrens of Carcow. Well, so it's a short game. It's complete for what it is. It requires you to do some work yourself in fleshing it out, but I like that. I'm more and more, as I think I've mentioned in previous reviews, of the opinion that a game should give you a framework, not an encyclopedia. A role-playing game, that is. And because you need to adapt it to your own group and to your own tastes anyway. So I think Blood and Bronze in the main does what it sets out to do, and it's very hackable. That is, you can steal stuff from it to use in other games, or you can take stuff from other games and put into this game to modify it, and it's pretty flexible that way. And now that I look at the back cover, it actually says what you're supposed to do. You're an adventurer, you have an urge for power, curiosity, or avarice, and you and your band of likes travel this world seeking fame, gold, and adventure. Yeah, okay. That, fair enough. At least you're not murder hobos. Anyway, you should by now have some idea of whether this game interests you. It's a game that will suit some people, and it will not suit some other people. And hopefully you know your own tastes well enough. So I'll wrap this up here. And until next time we see each other, I am Doc Eon, and I am signing off.